Hello! Welcome to the first ever Pyramid Book Club book discussion. It's kicking off as usual. It's not even me this time, so this is great news.
I always have my computer, well, when I'm here, propped on two pillows, and Bowser just like grabbed the corner of one and flung it up, and like my computer just went.
Oh my gosh. All right. So we are the Pyramid Book Club, and we got our name because we're actually in the pyramid, MLM, which is a pyramid scheme. And yeah, but
We are not a pyramid scheme.
I had this idea for a book club and asked Lexi and Monica to be a part of it with me, and they said yes because they're crazy. So welcome. We're going to introduce ourselves real fast, just in case someone saw that we were talking about the appeal and don't actually know who we are. So my name is Michelle from Michelle's Library. I read a lot of things, but mostly adult romance and thrillers and mysteries. And I do a project on my channel called the Alphabet Project where I try to minimize my books, and it's not working, but I am almost done J, where I take books off my shelves and read them according to the title of the alphabet. So that's it. Lexi, your turn.
My name is Lexi. My dog is biting my hand. My channel is Books with Lexi. Other than this month, I typically post a lot of vlogs. I like to do like the secret themed TBRs. Not that anyone's like keeping up to date on my video. Like they're not like, oh, what's next secret? Like, but I like to do a lot of that. I read primarily, this dog, thrillers, horror, and some sci-fi. But I do read a lot of everything, I think, or a little bit of everything. I can't focus with you nibbling my fingers. So sorry. That's my book. That's all. Go ahead, Monica.
Monica.
I'm Monica, and my channel is a little bit of Monica. I don't post very much, but there is still time. I have videos that I need to finish editing. Sorry, I'm just getting over COVID, so my voice still sounds like a robot. But
you sound a lot better than like
I do sound better
really
than 2 days ago.
No,
as far as books that I read, I also read like pretty much, a lot of different things, pretty much anything. But typically right now I am in thrillers, mystery, horror. I do read some fantasy, not a lot anymore, but I just kind of read whatever I want or whatever, these two tell me to read. So.
I'm trying to get Monica onto romance, so
it will happen. It will. I have a couple back here that I have to get into.
We can always buddy read, and I'll just like, gosh, I'll try to find one that's not like a lot of smut, just like a little bit.
Yeah, we just had to pick one for the book club, and
yeah, that's what I want to do. I definitely want to read a romance for Pyramid.
So. I'm shocked you didn't pick a romance as this month.
The inaugural? No.
Yeah.
All right, real fast, I'm going to talk about a little bit about what the appeal is about without getting too spoilery. So we'll do our non-spoiler section first, and then we'll go over our ratings. And please, if you are here, let me know the rating that you have given the appeal. But The Appeal by Janice Hallett is a story told in mixed media, mostly emails and texts, with a little bit of other things in there. And you are trying to actively solve a murder with two of like the main characters who are also trying to solve the murder. So that is it without getting too spoilery. Give me 1 second. What, Lexi, what was your star rating?
I think I have decided on 3.
Okay. I decided on 3.5, and normally I would bump it up to 4 on Goodreads, but I have decided to keep it at 3 because I wasn't feeling nice this time. And Monica, what about you?
I am giving it 4. I was leaning, and it's hard because I try to rate based on like my experience while reading, and like for the majority of it, I feel like it was pretty high.
Okay.
And then it was like that second half that hit me. But the ending was still pretty good. So okay. between 4 and 4.5, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And real fast, before we go, we're going to get further into why we went in our star rating in the spoiler section. So let's keep this very But Nellie also gave it 4 stars and finished it today. So we were sprinting. She was sprinting with us and was also doing it. So that's
also it's like 1:30 in the morning for Nellie. So
yes.
thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here, Nellie. The dedication is good. Katrina is also here and she wants to know all our thoughts. So that's excellent. Thanks, Katrina, for the support. Okay, so let's talk about the format of the book and if it worked for you. And if you are watching this, please let us please interact with us in the comments because I want to know, especially Nellie, what you thought. Like, did you like the emails? Did it work for you? Well, let's go.
I'm assuming we're just gonna go on the same.
We're going, yeah.
Okay, so every single time you are reading a new email, I'll just like show you the first like time it comes up, so I'm not spoiling anything. Every single time you see
yeah,
who it's to and from and the date and time, I was annoyed reading that every single time. And then I switched to the audiobook and it was less annoying.
Yeah.
Because I'm like this one literally says thanks, regards, and you have to listen to or read all of that beforehand. So like it took me a while to get into it. But once I was like further in, it wasn't as bad. But like it took a while.
What did you think, Monica? Did you like the format of this?
I did. I like the format as far as like, I think reading from a perspective like you don't know what they're talking about half the time.
Yeah.
So you're only getting the facts that are written there, and I thought that was really cool. Mm-hmm. I skipped a lot of the like I didn't read a lot of the date and time stuff. Like I just kind of skipped. I was like, well, they said that it's pretty much chronological, and until I felt like it was important to notice timeline specific, I didn't really pay too close attention to like the date and time.
Okay, that's good to know. I like glazed over. I was listening to the audiobook first of all, so I made sure I knew who it was from, to and from, and glazed over anything else.
Yep.
I like truly did not care when it was sent. We'll say that. But without getting too spoilerly yet, I felt like it was too long, maybe like too many emails, and some of the emails in there were unnecessary to the story.
Yep.
I felt like, and that was like a big turnoff for me. And I have read a lot of books in mixed media, or have like maybe not the whole book is mixed media, but I just felt like this was maybe too much for me. Let's go to Nellie's comment real fast. So you've never read mixed media, so that's cool. Then did you read it physically, Nellie? Because I know Monica did, and then me and Lexi did the audiobook. So I want to know if it like hindered. I thought the audiobook was amazing, and I'm really a stickler for the audiobook.
I read along almost exclusively as well.
Me too. I read along the whole time. I didn't do anything else except listen and read at the same time. So okay. Star ratings. So Nellie, I want to know what you did. I loved the audiobook. I wasn't sure if I was going to listen to it at all, but once I found out it was full cast, I really liked it. And then anytime there was like text messages, there was like a little buzz, like a phone buzz, or anytime there was a sticky note on the page, there was like a scribbling sound, which really like it really enhanced the story. And I thought all the audiobook narrators were very good.
And I wish I had listened to it too.
Monica, it was so good. And I usually do really bad with accents, and this was like such a breeze. I was listening at 3 times speed. So, so I wonder if it was the approach, but like I did like the audiobook when it went like what Lexi was showing us, the whole like subject line and stuff, like because that was annoying, and I would definitely skip that whole thing if I read it physically. You know, you read it physically, okay? So that's interesting that you both read it physically and gave it 4 stars, and me and Lexi did not. So I don't know, but I love the audiobook.
I don't think the audiobook has anything to do with it.
I honestly don't.
My rating.
So Katrina, the audiobook is amazing. So I definitely, if you want to read this one, suggest the audiobook. But we are going to get into the spoiler section right now. And I got a lot to talk about. I'm not going to lie to you. So I don't know where to start. I want to start with all of it. Okay. Let's start with the format again. I talked about this a little bit, but I thought it was too long. It was too long, right? With all of the emails, and some of the emails were completely like had nothing to do to propel the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like someone's dog was sick.
And then, but then they thought at the end that the dog maybe didn't exist because they said 3 people don't exist, right? And they were like, does the dog
exist? Yeah, but I don't think that was what they ended up.
I feel like it's hard to create, like, I don't know. I feel there were enough people interacting regarding the dog that I feel like it would be hard for that to not have existed.
I don't know. I don't know.
I have a very strong opinion on how this could have been better.
Like how would because who was watching the dog, and then Emma, right, was watching the dog.
I don't know who Emma was.
She like came out of nowhere.
She wasn't in the cast list. Like I looked multiple times.
She's just like Paige's best friend. Like I think that was like her relevance. But then Sarah Jane's mom knew about the dog.
Yeah.
Wolf was the dog name. Okay.
Classic.
Something else, and this doesn't have anything to do with the story. I just thought this was interesting. So I was reading along physically with the book and listening to the audiobook, and they changed things to make it like American.
Yeah.
But didn't feel necessary at all. Like they changed like euros to American dollars. So they changed like everything like that, but kept it in the audiobook as euros and stuff. And I was like, this is really a choice. So
I do. There was every once in a while, I was like, okay, I'm glad they did that because I wrote it down, or I put a sticky note because I would not have known what they were saying.
Yeah, one thing they changed it to like grocery store, and I don't know what they were trying to say in the audiobook, but like it took me a while. I actually thought it was a typo. So it's weird that they didn't like. This is not like spoilery. It's just like a thing that I noticed. But I just thought it was weird. But going back to the emails, I wish the emails were 100 pages less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that this could have been a million times. Oh, I'm pulling on my hair. A million times better if it would have been like about 100 pages less, and the end section was interspersed with the beginning a lot more. I know they did that a little bit. Like every once in a while, we got the like 2 lawyers like texting back and forth. But I just really wish that like it felt like 2 different complete sections. I wish it would have been merged together more, because it would have felt more like you're solving the murder instead of listening to these people and their fundraiser for the entire time.
and because the detectives or lawyers or whoever they were, like they ended up writing that document that I was like,
I was just about to
read a summary of the entire book. Like why did I?
So after you go through 200 pages of the emails, they take 4 pages to summarize everything. And I was like, either we didn't need the emails or we didn't need the summary. Like, it was too repetitive. And I
intersperse it. Do it in like a quick summary of like, okay, the last like.
So in case you've missed it, this is what's happened. Yeah.
Right.
I just,
that was a lot.
Yeah. I hated that like summary part.
I wish that they would have put the murder like way sooner in, because like the person, we're in spoilers. So the person that was murdered is Sam, who we like, she's not included in the story at all. Like we never get her perspective. So it seemed painfully obvious that she was the one.
She was involved somehow.
Yeah. So like literally on page 3, I was like, she either is the one that is being accused of killing someone, or she's the one that's murdered. Like, and it just like, it made no sense to me, because if she's dead, which she is, we would be able to get her side of the story. Like,
And
they
her
would have had
husband
access to her
too. Kel, we never get
Yeah.
Kel's emails either. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Why? Like, we get everyone else's. Why don't we ever hear? Like, I feel like she's dead. The police can have access to her shit now. We should be able to see what she's saying to Izzy and stuff. Like, I don't get that.
Yeah. So I wish that it either was announced that it was her earlier, or if it would have been someone else and it would have been like a twist. Because when they said it was her, I was like, okay, yeah, duh. Like,
Can we talk about really fast the part we go back to Tish Bahara, which is the doctor, and she's in somewhere, and she says that she sees her. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
What was that? Like, was it her guilty conscience? Was it? I don't know.
I don't know. It kind of made me wonder, other than because I remember whoever it was that she was like emailing at the end. It was like Sonia.
Sonia, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I remember Sam emailing Sonia at some point about something.
Yeah, I think so, actually.
But if that had, I thought at the end, if they made it sound like Sonia was Sam, also, because that email that she sent at the end was like, "You're too late. It's a comfort to know she's arrived. Like, if you speak to her, you know, like she's watching you." And I'm like, that sounds like Sam talking to Tish herself. Like, that's what that made it sound like. It's like Sam's now pretending to be Sonia. But I don't have the patience to go back and find the emails that she had exchanged with her that I'm pretty sure I didn't make up in my head.
No, I remember that.
Yeah. So like that's the only thing that like I was very confused by that.
I was also confused. I was like, "What, is she there? Is she alive?"
Oh, sorry. I thought
is she just haunted by the guilt of
that's why I was like, is this her guilt? Or but then the other lady she was
sorry. I was gonna say Sam ended up being correct, so she was guilty. Like, she felt guilty because she like played a part in this when Sam was correct in her accusations on Tish's brother.
She would have been murdered.
Yeah, Katrina, if you're still here, most of this novel is following a like fundraiser appeal, which I didn't know that's what that was called. But like pretty much they're trying to raise money for this 2-year-old that is diagnosed with cancer. So that's what we're like reading the emails for like 60% of the novel. Which like, and it ends up being like a money fraud thing. But like,
I also thought that was obvious. Like, anytime Sarah Jane asked, what was his name, Martin, how much money he needed or whatever, and he refused to say anything, I was like, it like made me deeply uncomfortable. I was just like, I know where this is going, and oh my god, I'm gonna bring up Nellie's comment.
Yeah.
It happened way too late. Like, I thought it was gonna be like, this is who was murdered, let's figure it out together. You know, but it was completely not like that at all, obviously.
Unless it was more surprising. Like Lexi said, like, I think I would have enjoyed the late murder better if it hadn't been something that I was like, what, that I saw that, like, it was so predictable.
Yeah. Okay, so it was the money thing made me uncomfortable because I knew it was going to happen, but still. And me and Lexi were talking about this a little bit before I forgot to send you the link. And
I see how it is.
I'm so sorry. But okay, so we were trying to figure out if we were correct, but the grandmother of Poppy was the one who was making Poppy sick, or like pretending she was sick. And then Poppy's mom, Paige, was just I don't think that she knew the truth.
It's
Yeah.
just weird to me. Like, how would you have no idea that your kid
But
actually is?
then the doctor was involved.
Mm-hmm.
So she was being paid to lie to Paige, because Paige had all these emails and was like, Poppy seems fine. She doesn't look like any of the other sick kids. We shaved her head because she's not losing her hair. Like, I feel like she truly didn't know, but how do you not know it's your own kid?
Exactly.
But then I keep thinking that the doctor was being paid all this money to do this.
Yeah.
And then she gets off scot-free. But maybe that's the thing with Sam. She's not getting off scot-free because the ghost of Sam is haunting her, because she started all of this shit.
That'll be fun.
It's coming back around.
Yeah. Instead of the African healing doll, it's
because
Sam
she gets to
that's, like,
escape.
haunting them.
Yeah, she gets to escape. Like, she's never does anything in the UK because she leaves. So I feel like her penance is that Sam the ghost is watching her.
Makes
you
sense.
know? I think I figured it out. Okay. I talked about it with you and I got it. Okay. So we talked about things that we hated, which was it was too long. The murder didn't happen until like 2/3 of the way through, which was not what we had signed up for. But what were some of the things that you liked? Because none of us gave it a bad rating.
I think I liked the fact that it was like every character was so crappy at some point that you're like, literally any of you could have committed a murder at any point and I would not be surprised. Like, I think that helped. Like, although we did, like, it was pretty obvious who was going to be at least dying or involved in it somehow was Sam. But like, other than that, it was very open to like, I don't know, anyone could have been involved. So it helps spur along reading. Is like, I'm not getting super bored of it because I know that like everybody here is messed up.
That's true.
So,
honestly, I'm trying to think about what I liked, because I did like a lot of things. I just don't want to say that I like the audiobook, which is true because they spent a lot of money on this audiobook, I can tell. But I honestly, look, I picked this up because I liked the idea of it, and I think the idea was good, but I don't think the execution was good. So like, if like someone else tried to do this where you try to solve a murder but do it like in an opposite way, where we talked about like, this is who was murdered, let's figure it out together, and it's like an email like that, I think I would try it again.
Yeah, I think the concept was really good. I liked the writing. Like, I liked the characters were like bad, but they were good. Like, I think my main problem was that the marketing is like somewhat incorrect, and that my expectations were too high. So like, I don't think that it was bad. I just think that like my hopes and dreams for it is like clouding what it ended up being, because it wasn't what I wanted.
Yeah, I definitely like, listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I picked this book, and you know this, I didn't know what it was about. Okay? I went off of Aoife's recommendation alone, and then I watched your video, and you told me the synopsis of this book, and that's the first time I heard it. And I was like, okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right.
It
It was on your 5-star prediction, right?
It was on my 5-star prediction. But that was just on Aoife's recommendation alone. But then I watched your announcement video for the Pyramid Book Club, and I was like, that's what this book is about. Okay.
Nice.
I was like, why did I think about this?
Because I just like, I don't like to look at reviews anymore. I don't like that, but like Aoife recommended it a lot. So that's how I picked it.
My problem is literally on the front cover, it says 1 murder, 15 suspects. Can you uncover the truth? So I wanted it to be mixed in. I didn't want to get the entire backstory and then the last 100 pages be what I was promised.
Yeah. But then
well, I would read more from this author.
yeah. And then I didn't even like the last 100 pages that much. I think it was like it's not that I didn't want to like not pick it up, but I was just like by the time I was picking up the last 100 pages, I was like, but this isn't what I thought it was going to be. So I was just like not as excited.
Yeah, I got to the end and I'm like, I don't care enough to like actually try to solve the murder because I'm pretty sure I know everything already and I was right.
Yeah, so my approach, this is spoiler too. I went into it not trying to solve anything. I was just along for the ride. I was like, there's no way I'm going to try to solve this. I'm just going to read it. But what did you guys do?
I went in with the intention of solving the murder. And then I was like, I'm just going to write down random thoughts for the live show. And we're 60% in, and none of my notes are about trying to solve the murder because I'm like, there's
no murder. Yeah.
Like, I told Michelle earlier on page 68, I wrote, I'm kind of bored so far. Where's the murder? And then we don't get the murder until like literally at least 250 pages, probably more than it.
I think I don't think I found out until it was the last 100 No, it was like
It's page 263.
Yeah, okay. That's a long time, and it's a long book.
Yeah, it's 416 pages.
Yeah.
So like all of these things that I wrote down are not about the murder. It's just like, well, I mean, like they were at first, but I was just making things up to try to like do something because nothing was happening.
What did you do, Monica?
I did go into it trying to be like, oh yeah, I want to try to solve the murder. And I just like used a pen and literally just like underlined things or like made little notes in the margins, which was mostly just my attempt at like pointing out when I noticed someone lied or like just trying to set up like patterns of like, oh, like I've written that this person lied like 16 times. Like that's a lot. Which for some of them it was pretty much like that. I wrote Izzy is so clingy, like at least once every like 15 pages. Like
I gotta talk about Izzy in a second. Sorry.
I wrote a sticky note. Oh, you said we're gonna wait.
Yeah, hold on. I want to bring up this comment. This was me and Ellie. I was just like, I'm just
trying. Okay.
But I appreciate that we all had different approaches to this because you were like, I'm gonna try to solve this, and I was like, absolutely, just gonna read it. So all right, let's talk about Izzy since she is probably the star of this book.
Yeah.
So
well, she wanted to be, so
okay. I think I want to start with the fake email first. What was that? Because I actually thought that was confusing when they were like 3 people don't exist or are lying or whatever, and then we find out that Izzy is emailing herself as someone fake, and I was like, oh my god.
I thought that was one of the most interesting things that happened.
I thought that was I did figure it out early on. Not early, but like I figured it out, but that also means that if Lauren didn't exist, her mom didn't exist, and her boyfriend didn't exist. So that means that she had made up 3 characters.
I didn't even think about that.
I didn't think about that either.
I did at one point, like, it was one of the emails where Lauren was talking about, like, oh, like, mom just told me. Oh, it's literally on page 270. It was an email from Lauren to Izzy. And I literally wrote, who is Lauren? Who is Lauren's mom? And why does Lauren sound like Izzy?
Oh, yeah. I like how they noticed it because Lauren said boo. And they were like, only Izzy says boo. And
yeah. Well, Izzy's always like gulp. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But Lauren and her boyfriend and her mom are all in the cast list, which I think is an interesting choice.
They're in the, yeah.
Or the fairway players. It literally says Lauren Malden, former staff nurse at the hospital, Josh, her boyfriend, Lauren's mother, and then her age.
But that's the character list that the detectives have, right? Of like who they're working with, like who they're.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is interesting because like nobody else interacts with any like or mentions any of them, and the fact that the mom never had a name, like even from that list, it was like Lauren and Josh and mom, and I was like, everybody else has a name. Even Sarah Jane's mom and grandma have a name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was confusing for me in particular. But let's talk about Izzy. That's
a sticky note about Izzy.
I will say the audiobook for Izzy was immaculate. Like anytime Izzy came up, like I can't even describe, her voice was like so high pitched and like she talks like this,
but in a good way.
You know, it was amazing.
Yeah. I said it was driving me nuts, but in a good way.
It was so annoying.
Yeah.
In the best way. Like, I mean that as a compliment. You know? Yeah. Like, she sounds like she would be annoying. Yeah.
And like, disliking
and they call her mousy all the time. They keep calling her squeaky.
Disliking her did not, like, make me enjoy this any less. Like, I liked disliking her.
I liked hating Izzy.
Yeah.
But also, like, Nellie's saying that that's her favorite character. But I think mine too, but because she was so prominent. Like, you get to know Izzy the most out of anyone.
Yeah. And the whole time you're thinking she's really sketchy.
Why is she so clingy?
Right.
Yeah.
I thought she was going to murder someone just because, like, and that was one of the reasons why they thought she could have been the murderer, is because of her obsession. And like at one point she was like, we don't need anyone else but us, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, she was like annoying in the best way. And I want you just to listen to the audiobook to listen to Izzy, because it was like it was the best voice acting ever. But what was I gonna say? Hold on. I think, Lexi, are you frozen?
She's either really bored with us or
I was gonna say something else about Izzy. Her Wi-Fi died. She'll be right back. Izzy. Okay, so I want to talk about the very end with Izzy's last email to the lawyers and how she starts clinging on to the lawyers. And how, I'm just talking about the last email that Izzy sends to the lawyers and how she starts clinging on to the lawyers. No.
She wasn't again. Lexi? She's still bored with us.
But I just thought that was interesting. Like, they saved her. Right. And now she's like, oh, I'll come work with you. You don't even have to pay me. And I'm like, oh, no, it's Sam all over again. I thought that was really good. Like, that was my favorite part.
That was such a good ending. Like, the fact that was the close.
The fact that she just like, okay, so she lost Sam, so she's going to hang out with these lawyers she doesn't even know.
Right. She had literally no one else. Like, no one cared.
Right? This, like, I actually thought this was brilliant. Like, I thought this was such a good way to end it. Like, even though I didn't, like, love the last 100 pages or whatever, I thought this last email, like, cinched it. Because Izzy just, like, she does all of this stuff, and she just, like, doesn't change. And I'm just like, amazing. Hello.
I'm scared to talk.
Oh, you could talk.
No, I'm scared to talk because, like, the internet's just going to disappear, and then I'm just going to...
We're talking about the very last email.
I was listening.
Yeah, okay.
My phone.
Oh, okay. So I absolutely loved it. It was so funny. It was not, like, supposed to be funny, but I thought it was funny, actually.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. So the book makes us think that it's Izzy, did all of you think that it was, what was his name? James? James, thank you. Yeah. I'm like, oh, was that right? Did you like think it was him, and did you get it? And
I thought it was Martin.
I as well thought it was Martin.
Monica's like, I solved it.
I knew James was involved, but I didn't know who murdered her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I knew James was lying about where he was that night. Because he had said I wasn't allowed in the hospital room for like the first 5 hours or something.
Ooh.
Or he said something about that, about like how he wasn't allowed.
Yeah, that's a good catch.
And I was like, well, then where were you? Like, you were posting 2 hours later. Like, if you weren't even allowed in there. So I knew he had to be involved. I didn't know whose hands were red, but I knew he was involved.
See, so I wasn't trying to actively like solve it, and was literally just
at that point. I was not either.
Okay,
I was so bored.
Right.
Like,
okay.
Until they started doing things that I was like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah. So by the time they got to this conclusion that it was James, I was just like, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
But they made it seem like, obviously they made it seem like it was Izzy, like we know that. But they also definitely made it seem like it was Martin, because he just, like, his emails kept getting like more frantic. And I'm just like, is this guilt? But it was definitely guilt about the money.
Guilt, yeah, all the money.
It was all about the money and how he's like, I'm gonna be caught.
Don't go to the police. Don't talk to the police. Don't.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, and then the whole Lydia Drake thing.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's such a liar. I was like, well, he could be lying about anything at this point. So, I mean, I was talking to Aoife after our sprints yesterday, and she was like, who do you think it is? And I was like, well, definitely could be Izzy, because they make it seem like it's Izzy. And then I was like, could be Martin, because I know that it's not, this money thing isn't real. And the Poppy thing isn't real. And I forget who else I said, but I was completely wrong, because I didn't even think about James. So I was like, oh. But I wasn't like, oh, it's James. I was just like, okay.
If I hadn't caught that one singular thing about him not being in the hospital, I would probably never have considered him.
No.
It was just I happened to catch that when I forget who he was talking to, but he had said something in one of the emails. I was like, I wasn't allowed in. Or
yeah, you're totally right.
And
yeah.
I was like, oh.
And then
a lot of my notes were like that, where I was just catching like, wait, I thought you were here. Or like when he and Olivia said he said that they were watching Poppy during the ball. And I was like, no, you weren't. So why are you lying? And so like that's like me tracking the lies of just like, well, he lied there. And then he said like, I wasn't at the hospital. I'm like, then why were you posting about being at the hospital? Like that doesn't. So that was just like the consistency of like keeping track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But if I hadn't caught that singular line, I would not have known.
As soon as you said it, I remembered it. But like, I don't think I caught it as I was reading it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I most definitely did not, because I'm like, eh.
Yeah, that's how I felt, Lexi. I almost called you Izzy. Sorry, brain.
Kind of rude,
it's like my wind down time, so I'm really dumb now. I really didn't, but when I found out who killed Sam. Okay, that's good. See, I didn't catch it. But also when it was revealed, I wasn't like, oh, I just like didn't care.
Yeah.
Hi.
Emily.
Emily gave it 5 stars, and I would like to know why. And just to recap, I don't know if you were here, I gave it 3.5, Lexi gave it 3, and Monica gave it 4, and Nellie also gave it 4. So you are the 5-star, and I would like to know why. I'm really interested because I know you loved it. So that is all. We are in the spoiler section still. I'm almost done. We were talking about this a little bit too, how it's 2018 when this is happening.
Oh, yeah.
And there's just so many emails. And this has to do with length too. But like, I can't remember the last time I actually emailed someone about something important. Like,
or even just to talk to them.
Yeah. Like the last time I emailed someone, like was Lexi when we were doing a video together.
Oh, I was like, when did you email me?
Exactly.
But yeah, it was like
exactly.
When it's businessy, like which
And
is why like the ones I can understand where he's like emailing all the the actors and like things that have to do specifically with like the fundraising stuff. Like I get that, but then there's so many like
I honestly think this would have been better and like more modern if everything was in text message.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or like, most of it at least.
Yeah, because then you would just have to do like one name. But I think she wanted us to see the stupid time and date, which didn't matter to me. Mm-hmm. You know, like I was never reading that.
I think also because and I don't know the purpose of why we never got to hear from Sam or Kel.
I don't know.
But
either.
if it had been text messages, it would have been a lot harder to do that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that had to, but like, the emails were confusing enough without their responses in the middle. But I think without text message, like if it had been text, it would have been even more confusing without the responses.
But that's the thing. They would have had access to her phone.
Ignore my terrible handwriting.
That's what my handwriting looks like. So,
like, I can make it look nicer, but like, why would
absolutely. I'll show you mine. Hold on. This is my notes for tonight. This is like a third grader's. Ready? There we go. I'm envious of everyone's handwriting. I always tell people they have nice handwriting.
Here's one of. I don't know if you can even see it.
No.
I said, did Martin scam himself?
Oh yeah, your handwriting is way better than ours. I don't know why I looked. I know what your handwriting looks like.
Okay, so we think that the year is weird with emails.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But we're what? Agreed on that. Hold on, I had one more thing. Maybe that was it.
I have a couple things that we
Okay, go for it. About. I'm done. My notes are done.
Okay. This one, like, I thought that they were trying to like throw so much suspicion on everybody because I was like, wow, this is so obvious. Like the fact that Tish was like involved in something. I thought they were trying to make her seem sketchy and then find out that she wasn't. But like, I feel like every time they made someone seem sketchy, they were sketchy. It was just like, I wanted more like red herrings. I wanted to be shocked about something.
Yeah, like all these people seemed awful and they actually were awful.
Except Helen was the one, I think, the one that I didn't know it was going to be Helen.
Yeah.
That was
sketchy. Let me bring up Helen's comment. So you actively tried to solve the murder. We talked about this a little bit. I did not. Lexi started and then stopped, and Monica did.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad that you had a good time, like, trying to solve this, because maybe I would have had a better time trying to solve it, but that's just not the kind of reader that I am.
I did try to solve it. I wrote that.
There you go.
I did something. That was like, I gave up after that.
Yeah.
I also, just like,
we've lost her. No. Lexi. We were doing so well too. We made it a while. Oh, I'm also nosy, and I liked feeling that I was reading real people. Yes.
That felt so good.
I really liked the text. The emails in the beginning, and then I just felt like they were a little too long. That was like my only thing. Like, please hold.
You're like first learning everything. Like, you're first getting to know who people are and how they're involved. The emails were great. It was too many of like the same thing. Like, they just kept going over the same topics and the same
and like we talked about before, some of them weren't relevant to the murder.
I don't think
so. Who was that lady that was traveling the whole time?
Am I here?
Yeah, you're here. Yeah, we're just ignoring you. We're like,
the internet is a piece of crap here.
That's fine. What else did you have to add?
Yes. I want to talk about the title.
Okay.
So on page 28, I thought the title came from a legal term, not like an appeal for money. And like 80% of the book is about this appeal for money, but at the end it actually also was an appeal for Izzy, which I thought was interesting.
As soon as they were like, okay, so this is an appeal for money, I was like, oh.
I know, because I was like, I thought this came from something else.
Me too.
I did like how it was both, actually.
Me too.
But they should have been more equal.
Yeah. Let me bring up Emily's comment real fast. Hold on, before we go.
Yeah, that's fine.
I was also buddy reading this with my friend, so we were working together some of the time, exchanging ideas. That's awesome. See, we were trying not to like spoil each other. Like we were still kind of reading it at the same time. We read it on sprints together, but we like also didn't want to talk about it together. So maybe if we hadn't chosen this for like our first book club thing, it would have been different. But we went at it alone, basically.
I don't think that I would have rated this differently.
I don't think so either.
Because it wasn't what I was promised for a lot of it. Also, there were sometimes it felt like too many characters. Like when they were like, "Oh, we found Lydia Drake. It's on this computer called Magda," and they're like, "Oh yeah," and I literally.
Yeah. I was like, did they ever talk about this before? Like,
yeah, I was like, I don't know who Magda is.
Yeah, like some of that stuff, I feel like could have been taken out or could have been done differently. So there were like less emails. There were a ass load of characters.
Yeah.
Correct.
And Magda was not even in the introduction part, like where they listed all the characters. I was like, who is this?
Because I went back and looked. So that's where I was like, who is this?
Yeah. But honestly, so I'm going to talk about Hyde. So I just attempted to read Hyde where there's 14 characters and could not for the life of me do that. But I think actually the format of this helped me with the bajillion characters because you see their name all the time. Yes. And you're like, okay. So I actually think in that way, there were so many characters, the emails were smart.
Yes, I do agree. And then, so this is just a random thing whenever I was like, okay, maybe I'll try to solve this again. When they were like, one person doesn't exist, I was like, is it Sam? Because we never got her emails. So I was like,
yeah, true. I still don't think that was smart. You know, like if her emails had been there, then I really would have been like, but who died? You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, I could have been like, well, maybe it was Izzy and maybe Sam killed Izzy because she's so fucking annoying, you know?
Yeah.
But since we omitted Sam, I was like, it's so obvious it's Sam.
Yes.
And not just Sam, we also didn't get Kel. So we knew it was the two of them. Like we knew.
Yeah. I did not think that was smart. I actually thought if we had gotten Sam's stuff, I would have been like, Sam definitely killed Izzy because I would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was my last one that we didn't really discuss.
My favorite part was probably Sarah Jane being done with Izzy 1,000% of the time. I actually loved Sarah Jane. I think Sarah Jane was my favorite character, to be honest, because she's me.
Sarah Jane was like relatable.
I loved her. Yeah. I was like, this would be me. I wouldn't even be nice anymore. You could tell from the tone.
And she was genuine. Like by the end, you find out that like she's genuinely like, she did not have anything to do with the deception.
She wanted to raise money for Poppy.
She thought she was raising money for a sick child.
Yeah, I loved Sarah Jane was my favorite character because I was like, I relate to you.
Yeah.
And like the fact that she was in charge of everything and people are just giving her crap all the time. I'm like, you go off, girl.
She's like the shirts. She's like, I hate Izzy. She's like, but she, you know what? She handles it like a boss. You know, I loved Sarah Jane. She's my favorite.
Yeah.
They're always hiya. Hiya. Boo.
Yeah, the narrator for her was just so good.
It was God, this audiobook was top tier, but Izzy in particular was just
I wish I had listened while I was reading.
It was so
I don't want to go back and have to re-listen.
I can honestly, if you are here and you haven't read this book and we just spoiled it all for you, I still recommend listening to it just for Izzy. Like the audiobook is top year is so
Yeah.
good.
You can listen to it on Scribd for like just a tiny portion, and it won't count as you like using it on one of
Okay.
your new releases.
Yeah, you just play a sample, and I think it's like 3 minutes or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do that.
But Emily, it was so.
I think
It
if
was
I
so
did not have the audiobook and
I
we
would have
were not,
DNF'd it.
yes.
Yeah.
If we were not doing this for the book club and I would not have the audiobook, I would have DNF'd it. Because even with the audiobook, I told you guys, I was like, I would DNF
I
it.
know. I would have DNF'd it without the audio too. Nelly? No!
Really?
I think like I just related to Sarah Jane so much because like I am always that person that's like, I'm the one organizing things. I'm the one in
Me
charge of
too.
things.
It's because
Like,
we're the first children. I
Yes.
get it.
Yeah.
Yes. We
She had to go and ask Sam, can you explain to me what the minutes
What are minutes? Am I timing it?
This is so funny.
I loved, okay, so she like wrote her own thoughts and opinions on the minutes. Honestly, I thought Izzy was adorable. Like, I would not want an Izzy in my life, but like, just like having to listen to this character, I honestly thought she was adorable. In real life, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And then she sent it to everyone, and everybody's talking about it.
And then they just pretended that Poppy drew it. I'm like,
We'll just say Poppy drew.
I do think it was really interesting that she took the blame for James because she's like, I just did.
yeah.
I was like,
But James was the one that was always nicest to her. Like,
yeah.
he
But
still
I
lied
don't
to
care
her
how
about
nice
it.
someone is for me. I'm not going to jail for you if you
Right.
murder someone.
Yeah.
Right. It was an
Yeah.
interesting like community dynamic that they explained of like the hierarchy of the alpha family and like
And
literally
this
everyone was
group,
doing whatever they could.
Yeah.
I was talking about this with Lexi, I think, and I just read If We Were Villains for the Alphabet Project, and it kind of reminded me of that because it was so much about the theater stuff and not about the murder stuff, and I was like, this is like the same book.
The theater stuff did not bother me.
It
I feel like
bothered me.
I feel like it wasn't overwhelming. I think that the fundraising appeal was too much.
See, I enjoyed that, and I did not enjoy the theater stuff. So that's funny.
Yeah, I just feel like there wasn't that much of the theater stuff.
I
mean,
thought
like-
it was too much theater stuff.
Monica, what's
I
your
say
opinion?
there's never too much theater stuff, so I loved it. But
Have you read If We Were Villains? Because I feel like you would really like it.
I have not.
I gave it 3 stars. I feel like you would like it. Yeah, for real. But it reminded
I
me
thought
of
it was
Black
okay,
Panther.
so you'll love it.
Yeah. That's funny. Emily said in my head I felt like Izzy maybe had a thing for James.
Interesting.
Could be. She could. I feel like she had a thing for everyone. Right?
I was just gonna say that.
She was
Yeah.
kind of in love with everyone. So.
Yeah,
Hold on a second. I have to turn on my lamp. It's like really
Okay,
dark.
no worries. Bye.
that's fine. I disappeared randomly multiple
Izzy
times.
was really cute and funny. I love theater stuff. See, I don't like theater.
Mm.
So sorry. I really love the theater. It's just me. I'm sorry. I'm the outlier. I was so sorry.
I just didn't think it was overwhelming, like an overwhelming amount. I mean, yeah, they were there, but it was more of like, yeah, we're at rehearsal, but like we didn't like get them acting out a bunch of scenes.
I guess I personally don't like theater. So like for me, every time there was a theater scene, I was like, please, I don't want
to cover up my theater shelf back here.
So this is a funny story. I used to be obsessed with theater, and I got into a musical school for college, and then I wasn't allowed to go because of the money, and ever since then I can't like watch theater.
So you're just holding a grudge.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but like
okay.
I don't like to like read about it. I guess.
Because you're salty.
Yeah. So anytime there was a theater stuff, I was just like, man, I don't care about this. But
You're
I
like,
did.
I'm jealous and I don't want to read this.
I don't want any of them to be in theater.
Yeah, y'all suck. Izzy wanted to kiss Sam the most. Yes,
Yeah.
but she was in love with everyone. I agree.
Yeah.
Yes. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
This is my villain. Yeah, this is it.
That's hilarious.
We
I was like,
unlocked
I
it.
thought you used to be in theater. I was like, I vaguely remember you saying that at one point.
For sure, like heavily.
So that's why I'm like, why do you hate
I don't like it. I don't like to it, like, no, I can't. But I really did like the money stuff, even though it made me so uncomfortable because I know what was going to happen. And
Oh yeah, I just thought there was too much. Ugh.
see, I liked that. I don't like. I think I liked it so much because every time it was brought up, it made me uncomfortable. Like it made me feel something.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, I like this. I'm feeling something.
No, I was so bored.
Okay, that's fair.
I was disliking it the most out of everybody.
Yeah.
I did end up disliking it the most. So
I don't think. Listen, I don't think it was bad. I think the execution was not my favorite. That's
and
it.
I think my expectations were too high.
Yeah, me too. I mean, this was a 5-star prediction for me. So, but that's the thing.
That's okay. Martin
You're not
didn't know either.
supposed to because Martin is lying about it the
Yeah.
whole time. So, and that's what I caught on to. I was like, this is going to be a mess. And it made me uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I felt uncomfortable. All right. Wow, we've been doing this for an hour. Any last thoughts? And then we'll talk about next month before we go because that's important. Oh, does anyone have the book to show?
Yeah.
Excellent. Way to go, Lexi. Way to be in charge.
My stack of books.
All right. Any
Let me read
final
all these
thoughts on the appeal?
I'm
you
glad
guys
I read
see
it,
the
and I
copy?
think it made an interesting discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did
And
you see the Poppy twist coming? Like the fact that she was never sick?
Yeah.
Did you know that was going to happen?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, there's no way this baby is sick.
Once they were shaving her head, I was like, that's not what you like.
No.
You don't just like. I understand some people do if it's like starting to fall out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like
But just
she
because
was
you
like
think it's going
looking
to.
like this, and
Yeah.
you're like.
And I
bye.
also knew that the doctor was in on it too by her emails to the mom page because she was like, "Oh, everyone reacts differently," and that's like not really true.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I just thought that like they were trying to make her seem suspicious,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and she wasn't.
See, the thing is, everyone who was suspicious really was
Yes.
a bad person. Like
Yeah.
there wasn't like, oh, maybe they're a good person, you know, like yeah.
Mhm.
So everyone knew, so it was obvious that Poppy was never sick.
Good.
So that kind of sucks because I feel like it could have been a good twist, but it
yeah,
never
I think
was
it
a
was
good twist.
supposed to be a good. Yeah, but like I also have like notes, thought bubbles throughout that I was like, is she even sick?
Yeah, that could have been a really good twist, but it was like so obvious from like almost the beginning
Mhm.
that
Yeah,
it wasn't
and
a good twist.
I read a book recently that had the same situation, and I thought it was so obvious, but I think that one was done better. So like when they revealed it, I knew that it was a thing, but this one, like the entire appeal hinged on
Mhm.
her being sick. So I was like, I feel like it should have been hidden
Me too.
more.
And then Martin's like final email to everyone where he's like, miraculously cured, we're donating your money, and you know that he kept it.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah. The fact that they built a freaking swimming pool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh.
No, they hired them before. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care that you hired them before she got sick. No.
Yeah. I just feel like
that.
that could have been a really, really, really good twist if
I
it was
wish-
done right, and
Mhm.
it wasn't.
Or
Yeah.
even if it was revealed like more clues later on.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that twists always need to like come out of nowhere, but I didn't want to like immediately be like, oh well.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I knew I was right, but also it could have been so much more interesting if like literally anything else happened.
Pretty much.
All right. Any more final thoughts from?
We picked all blue books for our first three. Our first
Yeah.
three books.
Funny.
Maybe we'll do a reverse rainbow. All right. Do you want to talk about July?
Sure. So for July, we are reading The Shadow House by Anna Downs. This came out earlier this year, and it's kind of like a haunted house story. The live show for this is going to be on my channel. It will be on Saturday, June 30th at
July
30th at some time in the afternoon, like Eastern. So trying to let Nellie not be here in the middle of the night. The audiobook as of right now, at least for me, is on Scribd. So that's an option. This is 300 pages, so it's shorter, but there's a longer synopsis, but this seems to be a haunted house story. Sprints as of right now are on Michelle's channel, but I think they have to be on Monica's because we switched.
That's fine.
Because then Monica would be hosting sprints and
yeah, that's fine with me.
in August.
I'm
So
just
sprints
here.
will be. For everyone here, would you prefer if the sprints for the book club were like 2 days before or a week before, or do you not have an opinion? Like, feedback is appreciated.
It depends on how late you wait to read the book, because if you're waiting, like if you're going to read it whenever you want anyway, then it doesn't matter. But if you're waiting until like we do the sprints, then
so that was just it also will depend on our schedules, but so that is our July. Okay.
I swear you never sleep.
I know, you're always here. I love it.
know.
Well, I also have this, so I can show it. This is our August selection. This is a sci-fi thriller. This will be Monica's the one hosting the live show. We don't have a date for that. Okay. And then Michelle will be doing sprints. But if you're scared of sci-fi, Blake Crouch does a really great job at making it like easily accessible for people who are not sci-fi people.
No, but really, I love dark matter, and that was like sci-fi like. So it was good.
Yeah, like if you read the synopsis, it kind of sounds like terrifying. Like it sounds like it's like hardcore sci-fi. But yeah, he does a really great job at making it so that like you can still read his books even if sci-fi is not your main genre. And I think one of the fun things about this book club is that we plan on doing like random genres. Like we're not sticking specifically to one thing. Like I know the next time Michelle picks, it's probably going to be a romance. So probably September is going to be
September.
Yeah, September, I would bet you money is going to be a romance. October, I'm hosting, it's going to be horror. Like that's what's happening.
Yeah. If you have any books that are coming up that you would like to buddy read, we can take it into consideration so we can all like buddy read and talk about it if that's something you want to do and if it fits in.
Yeah, I mean, I know Michelle and I read so much that like even doing this twice a month, like every once in a while could be an option. Like I don't want to commit to every month, but and Monica reads what we say you should read anyway. So like
just comes along for the ride.
Or if we read like 2 books for 1 month.
Yeah.
Because then you can still pace it, and like I'm speaking for myself, knowing that I don't read as much, but like I would be able to pace myself and know that I get the books done, and then we just talk about them like one at a time.
Yeah. So like I think this book club is fun because it's not set in one thing. So like if you really hate sci-fi, you don't have to join. But if you love romance, the next month that's what we're doing. So I don't know what we're reading, but I
don't know either. Let me figure it
out. I don't know what we're reading in October either. I know what I want to read, but we can't read it, so it's fine. What?
I said, oh
yeah, it's Michelle's fault.
Is it Hyde?
No, it's Katrina Ward's book.
Oh, we can read it. I don't mind.
But
We can do it.
you hate her writing.
It's fine. I'll try to find the audiobook and read along. Don't do it because no, that's not how this book club works.
But I want
I'm gonna
everyone
make you read a smutty romance. So
Oh, that doesn't bother me.
it bothers Monica. Do you see her face?
I'm just laughing at the idea. I'm just laughing. I told you I would do it. I told you I would read whatever. So
I don't know if we'll do 2 books a month every month.
No, I
Maybe
don't.
like
just
every
sometimes.
fourth, like. But I think that's a good idea. If you're down, we're down.
Yeah.
Is that it? We did it! Yay! Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, for talking about the book with us, for reading the book. I'm so glad that almost like we all liked it. I would say this is a good first start. And also, I'm glad we all didn't hate it because that would have been like so bad.
I was almost there.
All right, y'all. We will see you. We have sprints Tuesday on my channel, so we'll see you then. And then we will let you know the dates for the next Pyramid Book Club at a later date when I remember what Lexi said. So.
July 30th is the live show. We don't know about sprints yet.
Thanks, Nellie, for coming so much. Thanks, Emily, for coming. I'm so glad you guys like the book. And we will see you later. Say bye. Bye. Bye.